Alrighty, hello everybody, and I am Michael. Welcome to the Gunstock Shop. I'm so glad to be out here again. It's been over a week. I wish I could do this for a living. It's what I enjoy the most. I like working with my hands. I like bringing pleasure to people, enhancing their life with their favorite hobby, combining the beauty of natural materials with the handiwork of man. The whole process fascinates me. Especially since the end result is something that harvests food, provides protection. Anyway, I'm going to epoxy this back together again, and thought I'd bring you all along for the ride with me. I had previously drilled holes in both ends of this broken stock. You can see pretty significantly broken here. A big chunk of this came out in the process of working with it. It'll go back in, but there's a lot of missing wood too. And then there's the other hole here. It's very tricky to do to get those two holes to line up when you got two broken pieces. With some stocks, what I've been able to do is fit the broken pieces together and then drill down through, in a normal stock, sporting arms, modern sporting arm stock, drill down through the base of the rear of the inletting, right down through the wrist, and then take the two broken pieces apart. Now you got holes that match. It's not often that can be done, and certainly could not be done with this shape. This is an old percussion cap muzzle loader. I'm not even sure what it is. It's just going to go in a shadow box, I think, and be a memento. So let's turn this thing into the memento it was supposed to be a month ago. So I got a piece of 1/4-inch drill rod. This is cut off of the end of an extended reach 1/4-inch drill bit. It's a handy, relatively inexpensive way to get some really strong material. And then I've roughed up the outside with the angle grinder with the cutoff wheel. And additionally, I cut some, tilt this right, very poorly, inexpertly cut little not ridges, but grooves around it in several places to create a glue lock so that it won't easily separate. Not that I think it even possibly could. Epoxy doesn't make a super strong bond to steel. It is a strong bond, but I wouldn't say it's super duper. And it does create in a bond like this, it'd have a fair amount of stiction ability, but I'm pretty sure that despite all this preparation, if this were glued in a block of wood and you whacked this with a hammer, it would probably shake loose. So the glue locks make sure that, 100 years from now, it should still not fall apart. Washed it with acetone. All of you did just see me handle it with my fingers, and I'll probably give it another quick wipe down. So then I'm going to mix 4:1 epoxy laminating resin. The resin is Tap Plastics 512. It's comparable to the West Systems marine grade resin, and I'm going to use the 102 fast hardener, which again equates to West Systems. The Tap Plastics laminating epoxy resin has a lower aiming count. Early on when I got started in composites, I worked with West System. That was kind of the darling product of the day, and I got really significant hive reaction to it. And some people, when they get hives working with epoxy, they're like done forever. They're like, I can't work with epoxy. I get hives. But the truth is, a lot of things we do in life create things that are a bummer for a while. You get blisters using the wheelbarrow or whatever, and next time you use the wheelbarrow, you get blisters again, but it doesn't stop you from doing it. Hives are a little like that. But anyway, Tap Plastics came out with their product with lower amines. I went to that, and I've been using it for, it's got to be 20 years or more. So we're going to mix that. We're going to weigh it out. We're going to measure the 4:1 mix by taking the tare off of the scale, the cup weight. So I'm only measuring the resin. And whatever the number on the scale is, I'm going to put it in the calculator. I'm going to do divide by 4. And then, I'm sorry, not divide by 4. That is basically the goal. I'm going to do times 1.25. Because that answer on the calculator is going to be what the weight needs to be on the scale when I finish adding hardener. So then after that's mixed, and then the mixing process is one where you don't want to use a wax cup, paper or plastic, because you don't want to scrape the wax into the mix. And then I want to make sure that I get a good complete mix all the way around the sides. But then when using resin, it's not a good idea to scrape the last little bit out of there and put it in your special project, because right on the edge is going to be some parts that are not fully mixed. In this case, we're going to have a peanut butter consistency. I'm not really tripping about that. I just want to share that because it is a truism. Then, so I'm going to mix the epoxy, and then I'm going to add thixotropic silica. This is Cavasil is the name brand of this, and some milled glass fibers for strength. And I just went over to the belt sander and created a little bit of walnut dust to mix in for color. So here we go. Turn the scale on with the cup on. It gives us a 0, so that takes the tear off. I have no idea how much epoxy I want to use this first time, so I'm just going to make a little extra, and it probably won't be enough. Yeah, let's do that. 10.7 times 1.25, 13.375. And so now, oh, can you see what I am doing? 13.4. Yeah, this will be a lot. Not to be able to do everything I need here, but I'm sure it'll still take a couple applications. There's going to be some broken wood to fix and who knows what. So we'll just see how this does. Yeah, this is a lot. There we go. We're mixing. That hardener is getting old, so it's a little darker yellow than fresh. I got a fresh bottle over there. I couldn't show you the difference, but actually from here, I don't know, it doesn't look that much different. Alright, gonna get a good mix in there. And start adding some powders into it. I try to fold it in, don't mix it vigorously and put it all in the air. The milled glass fibers tend to fall out of the air very quickly. Thixotropic silica kind of tends to float a little bit. We're not using micro balloons. They also tend to float. When I've done this, when I do larger mixes, sometimes what I'll do is I'll mix it down by my waist while I walk, so that I'm leaving the powder behind me to fall to the ground. I've also rigged up a vacuum with a motor speed controller, so that I can turn the vacuum on to idle and just have it with a screw on the side of the workbench so that I can mix right next to it. I do want to get that set up. In fact, the motor speed controller is, can I see it there? Just, oh, these scissors are hiding it. Yep, right there on the wall. So we're getting there. Alright, I better get back to mixing. Hope I have enough sanding dust here. Did I call it sawdust earlier? Sanding dust. What I do is I hold a little block of walnut up on the end roller on the belt sander and hold this container underneath it and just harvest some dust. Oh, this color's starting to look nice. I want something that's a little bit light because this wood is light. And that's pretty close. I want to make it a little thicker. It looks pretty good. I can just get a little more sanding dust in there. Alright, I think we better start getting this on the gun. Oh, I like that color. This is lighter than I would normally do for walnut, but I think this is going to be pretty close. It's not perfect. Alright, so I'm going to shove some epoxy down in the holes in the stock. Then I'm going to goop up the rod and I'm going to stick it all together. And it's going to be a big old oozy mess. I'm just smearing this everywhere. All this broken wood. And if there's places the glue is that I don't have any wood for, and I'll just, if I want to, I can just wash the epoxy off with acetone. Oh, I was going to hit this with another little dab. Okay, that's goobered. Stick this in here. Just want to make sure I got lots of glue and not much air. I'm just twisting it off and shoving it down the hole. And there we go. It's really spilling out good there. Alright. Let's goober this. Oh, I think we're going to have just enough epoxy. I thought we made a lot. Well, that's why I tried to make extra. It's hard to judge. This part of the stock is light as a feather. It is paper thin, and I can't wait to make another stock for myself because, frankly, I want to try going thin. Maybe my stocks are a little chunky. I go for aesthetics and ergonomics more than weight, but I've become sensitive to weight lately. I want to build a lightweight field gun. I have some ideas. And if I get out here in the shop a little more, I could generate the income to acquire those toys I want. I can feel the epoxy stiffening up just a little bit. Oh yeah, it's quite full. Yep, that used up our cup of epoxy. Alrighty. Very good. Very, very, very good. So, now I have to figure out how to support this straight while it cures. Sometimes I might stand it up on the bench with masking tape going off in different directions to support it. Alright, that's just going to be awkward there for a minute. You know, I'd really like to do this one with aliphatic resin, but I think we're on the epoxy plan here. And I think that's going to glue in. Let's see if we get enough out of here after I said worry about scraping the cup. When mixing splue, I think that concern is not so important, because what's on the side of the cup is well mixed splue. It's not like liquid that might have a microscopic layer of one chemical that didn't mix with the other. Alright, well, we're goobering it. Splue is the industry term for thickened epoxy. Some people pronounce it splue. S-P-L-U-E. I think it's splue. Alright, this ought to make a good mess. Oh, hey, hold on it. Get some rubbed in here too. Okay. Alright, we are heading in a direction here. Either a monster mess or beautiful perfection. I think it's looking like beautiful perfection. But we do have a challenge here, holding all this stuff together. Whoa, see that? Cool. So now, how are we going to do this? Oops. There's the mess. Well, it'd be a bummer, but sometimes I end up just having to hold things together for an hour. Because I can hold it, and that looks really good, but I don't know how I'm going to clamp all that together. Okay, let's get a paper towel. And use the roll. Oh, that's a good start there. Real good start. Alright, let's get some of this excess glue taken care of. Oh, and get my stick wipe down. I'm making a mess here. Add some little dowels here I prepared for the work. Oh, let's put that over there. We'll get in there and clean that up a little bit more, but that got a lot of it out. I think we're going to want a couple of clamps here. Let me try to do a little rotate maneuver. Oh yeah, this looks great. This looks really good so far. Don't know if you can see that. Is it going to look like it was never broken? No. And I'm going to keep an eye on this for the next couple hours, and I'm probably not going to hold it every minute, but Every 10 minutes or so I'll come out and give it a good squeeze, and then I'll be able to tell once it's starting to gel really good. It'll, I'll give it a good squeeze and let go, and it'll actually stay for a moment, but maybe it might relax. And then I keep doing that until on one last squeeze it's still just off enough it'll get a good squeeze, but when I let go it actually stays there. So that's kind of my plan right now. I have some little baby squeeze clamps I'm going to go grab and see if I can do anything with them. A lot of times though on curved surfaces it just ends up being more of a mess and you can't really see what's going on, but I'm going to just see if I got a little baby clamp. Yep, here's one. I bought on a lark once because I thought it was so cute. And it turns out to be pretty useful. Oh, that gives it a really nice squish. Well, this is not going together super good. Let's get some more squishing on it. This piece is proud. Doesn't seem to push it in there. Yeah, very nice. Oh, I hope you can see what I'm doing and my hands aren't in the way. I'm just futzing with it. You give it a little squeeze together. It's looking really good. Another little squeeze I might try to do right there. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cup of splue in the refrigerator to prolong its cure, so that by the time this is well stuck and I can take the clamps off of it, with any luck I won't have to mix up fresh splue, and I'll have enough here that'll be pretty rubbery, but I ought to be able to squish it in there almost like putty in places that are going to be weak. Okay, I will check back in with you in a little bit. Hello everybody, it's been a second for you and 2 more days for me. I had to do numerous applications of fill on these holes and missing wood, but it is looking fantastic. I'm ready for a little bit of fine sandpaper, and then I'm going to open up inside, not open up, I'm going to sand away some of this inside the barrel inletting to expose some white wood and do some stain and finish experiments in here to try to closely match the original color. One thing I have done, and I may accentuate it further as I finish sand, is I kind of feathered into the old finish and stain, and I'm hoping that we'll, especially over here where it's a little bit mottled looking, and here, I kind of left some of that. So I'm hoping that even if the color and finish doesn't perfectly match, there will be enough variation going on in there that the eye won't be drawn to it. That's my goal. Oops, sorry, it's very confusing to do this backwards. I'm super happy with it. Yeah, it's got a lot of resin showing, lots of fills, but they're all fair. There's no valleys or divots, and this will sand up and look a little better. And once the oil's on it, of course, it's going to look like a dark wood kind of fill look. So I'm going to have to touch up the inletting here. I may put it on the milling machine and cut a couple of neat lines, but I'll probably try by hand first to see how bad off it is. It feels super strong now. I wouldn't want to hold it like this with the 15-pound barrel or whatever it is. Yeah, it's maybe 10 pounds anyway. You know, there'd be a lot of weight to be holding cantilever, but there is a steel rod in here now, and it feels solid. I feel like, you know, I don't feel like this is fragile anymore. Like this is really strong. Wouldn't want to drop the thing. All the rest of the wood is still super thin and dry and old and pretty fragile. Probably just shatter. But this section here that is broken repeatedly over the last 100 years or more, it's not going to break there again. It's quite rigid, and of course it'll probably never break because it's going in a shadow box, right? So the tools I used since you saw me last, after the first glue, how that worked out is I ended up having to hold it together, and I did that for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, just pretty well held it together really firm, and then came out every half hour or so and squished it together more until I reached a point where I squished and it didn't want to come unsquished. And by, you know, the amount of movement we're talking about is really microscopic. I just want to make sure that the broken pieces of wood, if they are absolutely pressed tight up against each other, you can't see where the break was. And in fact, on this side, I really can't see it at all. The wood came together really quite perfectly. The other side was missing lots of wood, so there's obviously stuff going on there. But as far as where the split occurred, the wood split, that is invisible. So that effort, you know, attention to detail, certainly pays off when doing a repair like this. Tools I used, hook blade on X-Acto for getting down in the bottom of little pits that needed to be filled and just scratch it all up. I also used a Dremel with the Saber, 1/8" Saber carbide bit on it for larger areas, and then to after each application it had to be sanded down, look if there was anything else that needed to be done. And I used 80 grit machine belt paper in a roll, as I'm sure you've seen me use before. This is a really helpful, useful tool. You can squish it up and get, you know, a shape like that, or you can flatten it out and get something that's a little bit flatter. And boy, it just carves cured resin so easily, and actually even wood, you know, for shaping wood. And then I used a little piece of 120. That's all the sandpaper I've used so far on this little project, and a little piece of 320. And I'm going to do some more 320 on it and do my staining and finishing experiments, and then get it on the wood, and then I will check back in with you, and we'll have a finished project. So Mr. Diana, no, your name's not Diana, the fellow with the Diana, I got progress to show you, and stay tuned tomorrow. I think I'm taking the canoe out fishing. It's not going to be windy and a warm day, and it's been months, so I got to go breathe in some nature, I guess, for a few hours. But stay tuned. I might get it up tonight, or if not this weekend, so watch out for that bell ringing thing there on the YouTube, notifying you on the email that I posted. And if you're not getting those, make sure you click the bell. That'll make sure you get a notification in your email when I post. And like, share, subscribe if you found this useful or enjoyable. And thanks so much for your patience, Mr. Clients. I'm so sorry, I just got so much going on here. Really wish I could do this for a living and make this full time, but I don't know, there doesn't seem to be much market in the airgun world for what it is I'm doing. But I'm really grateful for you guys to bring me this work, because I just love doing this work. Okay, peace out, everybody. See you soon. Or actually, you'll see me soon. Bye.